Hello everyone, I am Wendy with Winds of Change Ministries, and today I'm going to go in and discuss the Passover meal again, giving a little bit more detail. So when God told them to pick themselves out a lamb or a sheep, anything to feed that was big enough to feed their family without having leftovers. They were supposed to go on the 10th to do it, and then they were going to do the sacrifice on the 14th. And God told them that this was something He wanted the children to do, the children of Israel to do for a memorial of what had happened. I hope that you can see the leaves are kind of blowing in the background. I hope that this wind muff is doing a good job in drowning out that sound. So anyway, yeah, so he wanted them to, you know, continue this, and the children of Israel do that to this day. Okay, they practice the Passover meal and everything, and they have, and God told them also that He wanted them to uh, to have unleavened bread for a week because this was going to symbolize something. Okay, it's everything is symbolic. All right, and right there in real time, when the children of right after that meal, the reason why they were supposed to eat everything in one day was because God was planning on getting them out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. In fact, they were told to eat that meal dressed and prepared to leave. Okay, and so to have your staff in your hand, in other words, be ready to go. All right, and after that meal, the shadow of death moved over the Egypt and killed all the firstborn, and there was a great grief throughout the land. All the firstborn except for in the houses that had the lamb's blood over it. Okay, and so this was the first example of God using blood for atonement, for salvation, and it is a foreshadowing of Yahushua and what his era represented. And anyway, and the power of the saving the saving power within blood. Okay, that is anyway. So when the children of Israel, they after the Egyptians saw this, they just basically pushed them out. They're like, go, go, go. They were beaten really bad, and with all the plagues and everything. So finally, they said, get out of here, and so they did, and they started leaving, and then they came to and they were guided by day by a pillar of smoke, and by night by a fiery light. Okay, basically a big fiery tornado, and this represented both of them together. The smoke and the fire is symbolic of what we saw, or what was discussed when Abraham sacrificed the 3-year-old heifer and the 3-year-old she-goat and ram and the turtle dove and pigeon. Okay, there was a smoking furnace and a fiery lamp that traveled amongst those sacrifices. All right, and it represents the divine father and mother working together to lead the children. Okay, so that's what that symbolizes. And It was the fiery tornado that led them by day, by night through the darkness. And I have mentioned before how Lila in the creation week for night, Lila means night, but it's also associated with a spirally staircase. Okay, a fiery tornado also at night. It's the same imagery. All right. So anyway, yes. So there is some deep symbolism connected to creation and the whole idea of ascension, coming from the story of them exiting Egypt. Now, God told them, that He wanted them to leave Egypt and go into the land of milk and honey. Okay. Now, if all right, if we look at because we are a microcosm of the macrocosm, if we look at ourselves as the children of Israel, and we are being led by a fiery tornado through the darkness of night, right? So Lila with the spirally staircase, then that is the ascension of the children of Israel out of Egypt into the land of milk and honey, which is our brain. Egypt, it's actually Mitzrayim. That's the real word, and it is connected to the sound. To the word tower. Okay, or fortress. So Mitzrayim is a fortress or a tower, which is our spinal column. Okay, God told them to leave Mitzrayim. Well, your spinal column ends right about here. Okay, and then you have your brain stem. All right, and then you go into the other areas of the brain, which include, your pineal gland and your pituitary gland, which are by the interior of your brain, the left and right. I forget what they're called, but they're like little cavities in your brain. Okay, and they look like, if you did a cross cut of it, they look like little winged angels, similar to the winged angels that go over top the mercy seat of the altar of God. Okay? And so this is, because we are a microcosm of the macrocosm, this is the throne room of God. We come up out of Mitzrayim, all right, through the brainstem into the other regions of the brain, and that is the ascension process. And to do it, you must follow that fiery whirlwind through darkness. Now that was an example of what happened at night, and during day, of course, there was the pillar of smoke. But it's all very symbolic, and it all ties together. There is deep symbolism in all of this. All right. Now, God told the children of Israel to that sacrificed lamb or goat that it symbolizes Christ. It symbolizes, okay, the Passover lamb. All right. And the Jews, they only had an opportunity to partake of that Passover lamb. Judaism, it was in its heyday for roughly 1,000 years before then we started going into Christianity. So, and there's symbolism of why Christianity lasts for 2,000 years. Not that it's going to completely go away, it's just not in its heyday anymore. That season is over. Okay, we're entering the season of oil, where the children are being taught the true understanding of things, okay? The things that have been hidden since the foundations of the earth, and we are in that season now. So, Anyway, now God told the children of Israel, once they were out of Egypt and they were in the wilderness, he started giving them instructions. And he told them that he wanted them to practice certain things, like keeping the Passover every year in a very specific way. Okay? And he also told them that he wanted all the firstborn to be dedicated to him. All right? For the animals, that was going to be anything that opened the womb. That was going to be a sacrifice to him, and the children, human children, had to be redeemed. Okay, that was the idea at first. Okay, so and so that they didn't have to be sacrificed. But anyway, it was the idea of being dedicated to him, and he said that this would be a sign, like a mark on the hand, on your right hand, and like frontlets between the eyes. Well, where else do we know about a mark on the hand and frontlets between the eyes? We know about it from the book of Revelation, okay, where the mark of the beast was put on the hand and between on the forehead. Okay, so anyway, and in the book of Revelation, we are told that the only ones that didn't receive the mark were killed. Okay, they were killed, they were beheaded. All right, and that these would be those who are the 144,000. Okay? So they would be the martyrs. All right? What did God say? He said, let them be redeemed. Okay? So, and the ones who are redeemed by the Lamb, they are still considered amongst the beasts, because they still have the mark. All right, they still have the mark on the hands. So, in other words, to not be considered amongst the beasts, all right, then you really do need to be sacrificed. This is the firstborn. This is a letting go of it's your first version of yourself. Okay, it's the ego of yourself, it's the carnal nature of yourself, it's the beastly nature of yourself. Okay, that needs to be let go. All right, and then because there's really no redemption. I mean, yes, it's redemption. Okay, you get to go on and live your life like you want as a beast. But if you want to ascend and truly be in unison with God, then you have to go through the process of letting go of that first self, that first version of yourself. Okay, this is not a physical death. It is an ego death. It is a total surrenderance to God and higher understanding. Okay, it's an expansion of consciousness, and you're not going to get there if you allow your carnal nature to rule over you. All right, so that's all I have to say for this episode. I will be back later. I'm trying to get 40 videos in for my 40 days of manna. Anyway, that's it for now. My name is Wendy, and we're all living in the winds of change.